Right, so now we get on to the exciting part, the actual decorating of the wreath. So you can see the wreath is all finished, backed at the back of it and ready for decorations. So I've wired up some bits and pieces already, and then I'll show you how to do some extra pieces. Now if you've decided that some little gaps somewhere in your wreath that you just want to put an extra piece of foliage in, maybe there's an area where it's a little bit gappy, what you can do is get you a piece of foliage, trim it to the right length and use the wires to go round the stem, bend it over, and then you've got it on a long wire. And then what you want to do is to find where the gap is and feed that through the wreath frame. You'll hear a little click as it goes through the black plastic backing at the back of it. Turn it over so you can see the wire at the back. Trim off any excess and just bend it over and push it into the back of the wreath so there's no wire sticking out. So you can use that method for filling in any gaps, and you can also use it for fixing on all your accessories. So for this one I've got some baubles, some stars, some little pears and some fir cones which I've sprayed with some snow. So to wire the fir cones, we take the fir cone, turn it upside down and wind the wire in between the parts of the fir cone right the way through, twist it a couple of times, and then that will fix on. It's got a long wire and a short wire, and that will fix onto the frame. Just show you that once more. So we go through the back of the fir cone between the pines, bend it round, bring it down and just twist the wires together so it's fixed through nice and firm. So fixing those into place, decide where you want your display and your decorations to go, push the wire through, you'll hear the click again, bring it round, turn it over and push the wire back through. You can do that with all your accessories. I've wired some baubles in the same way, just fixing them on with the nice strong wires. They just feed through in between, pull it into place, push it back over. I've got some stars, I've done the same kind of wiring on the stars. Push it over, bend it back through. Just keep going round your wreath, adding your accessories. You can add as little as you want or as many as you want. The choice is entirely as yours. You can be as artistic as you like, or you can keep it quite simple, quite plain. Just go for fir cones or add on any other glittery bits. One thing to be careful of though is anything you do use on the wreath, do make sure that it's suitable for using outdoors, that it's water resistant. Because one year we did have some little berries in the shop and they looked gorgeous, but when you put them on a wreath and put them outside, once they got wet, they started to dissolve. So it's fine if it was in a porch, but if it's outside on your front door, it's got to be able to stand up to the rigours of the weather that we're going to get in the next few months. So just keep going around, adding your accessories, adding your decorations in, wherever you feel is appropriate, wherever there's a gap, wherever you want them to be. Just keep going round and round the wreath. Cone. Push it in and bend it back through. Fir cone here. Another ball. So when you come into the shop, you can choose out what kind of accessories. There's some different picks and things which go nicely into the wreaths. There's lots of different accessories, and you can choose from a range of different ribbons to decide what goes in best with your colour scheme. I do tend to usually go for reds and oranges and golds and all those autumny sorts of colours when I'm making my wreath, because the handle and the door knocker on the front door are like a coppery sort of colour, brass. So I tend to think the gold and the natural goes better. But I do love these silvers and these snowy sorts of colours, so I thought just for today I'll make something a little bit different. Fix those through. Then decide how you're going to hang your wreath. And I usually hang mine onto the door knocker, so I make a loop bow from the top of it. So I take the ribbon and I do a short loop, a long loop to hang it, and then a short loop. Cut the ribbon off, Use a nice thick wire to go through the centre of it. That bends through the middle. It has a double twist in it, and that holds it nice and firm into place, and that's what I'll fix on to use for the handle. And then I'm going to put a matching ribbon bow at the bottom of the wreath, a nice fluffy one. So I'll choose out some ribbon loops to make this nice and big and frothy, because it's quite a fine ribbon. There's loads of different ribbons to choose from, and you can either make your own bow, just buy the ribbon for it, or you can get the florists in to make the bows ready for you. So the wire goes through the centre, round to the back of the bow, a nice double twist to keep it nice and firm, and that will hold it into place. So decide where the top of the wreath is going to be and the bottom of the wreath is going to be. I think I'm going to have mine that way up. There's the top there. So my hanging loop goes in at the top, and I feed that through the side of the wreath. Again, pushing it through so it comes out at the back, through the backing. Turn it around, you should be able to see the wires pulling nice and strong. I trim off any excess wires and then just fold one to the left and one to the right, tucking those back in, and that will make a nice strong hanging loop. And there's the top, and then at the bottom the other bow is going to go directly opposite that. And just fixes into place, push the wires right through, trim off any excess. One opens to the left, one turns to the right. There we go, just see if there's any other extra decorations I want to add into it. I would say less is more, but sometimes more can be more, can't it? I think I'll add just one more star. Put that onto a wire. Wrap the wire around the stem to make it a little bit longer. And then add that in just here. Push it through in between the foliages, through the back of the face until it clicks through. There it is. And pull it nice and firm and tight. Bend it over and turn it round. And there we have it. Our finished, decorated Christmas wreath. Fully backed, so it's protected, it won't damage the door. Just make sure any wires that you've got are folded through. Check it over, make sure there's nothing there, nice and well protected. And that's ready to hang up on the door. Just remember, if it's very warm, which it might be if we don't get any rain, you may need to lift it down every so often, put it onto the path and just give it a couple of cups of water just to keep the moss nice and moist, and then hang it back on the door, and that will keep through the whole of the Christmas period. Beautiful and fresh with the moss in there, keeping all the fresh materials, getting them plenty of water and keeping them nice and stopping them from going crispy. So there you have it, your finished door wreath. Thank you very much.